Hi there everyone, welcome back to Dandelion Delphi. Grade 11s and 12s can watch this lesson, and it would be best if you first try the Exemplar of 2018 question 4 yourself. It only deals with arrays, one-dimensional arrays, so all grades should be able to cope with this. Before we look at this question, I would first like you to understand how I've gone about removing duplicates. So what I'm doing here is I am creating a new array that does not contain duplicates. So I'm going to declare it with the same number of items. So the indexes will be the same for array new, which is not going to contain the duplicates. But the indexes are the same as for the original array, because if there are no duplicates, then all of the names that would be in array name will also then go in array new name and so on. So I'm starting here with iDup is assigned to 0. Now iDup is the number of items that is in my new array without duplicates. So from now on, when I say the new array, it's the array without duplicates. And the old array would be this one array name that still contains duplicates. And here I'm looping through my old array. So wherever you're using k, that's going to refer to your old array with duplicates. And I'm going to loop from iCount. iCount possibly got a value in form on activate. And every time I'm looping, I'm setting a Boolean value to false. Duplicates are now going to keep track for me of whether I have found a duplicate or not. And now I'm going to loop using iCheck as my for loop variable from 1 to iDup. Now iDup at this point, when I run it the first time, or the loop executes for the first time, iDup is 0. So it's not actually going to execute because a for loop can't go from 1 to a lower number. It has to go from 1 to a higher number. So for when k is 1, all of this is actually not going to execute. So B duplicates will still be false, and therefore I now have if not duplicates. So that means I have not found a duplicate. I increment my duplicate index, so now I have one item in my new array without the duplicates, and I add the current value of the person to my new array. So the old array is placed inside of the new array if there were no duplicates found. But that was now the example for k is equal to 1. Let's say I already have about 5 people in array new name without duplicates, and my k is now at 10. So let's pretend k is 10, b duplicates is false, and now I'm looping with iCheck. iCheck is used for your new array without duplicates, and I'm looping from 1 to 5. So I am checking if the item number 10 in array name is equal to any one of the items in array new. If it does find the name, it then changes to be duplicates to true. So then this line here won't be executed, so any duplicate names won't be added to my new array. So let's say I go to my loop, for loop executes again, so now k is 11, b duplicates is set to false, and I'm looping from 1 to 5. iDup didn't change because remember number 10 was a duplicate, so we didn't increment iDup. So I'm looping through all 5 items in my new array and checking if the value of the item in 11 in my original array with the duplicates have been found. So let's say we don't find item 11 anywhere in my new array, then b duplicates is still false. So therefore, this if statement will execute the part between the beginning and the end. I'll increment iDup. Now I'll have 6 items, and in position 6, I put the values of the person who was stored in position number 11. And so you continue, and at the end of this, the new array will have no duplicates, but your original array will still have some duplicates. Now, if I just had to display the arrays without duplicates, I was able to just display array new, and that would have shown me the values without the duplicate values. But let's say I had a procedure display or as in the example we're going to do, we have to display the original array, but the original array still contains my duplicate values. You will have to overwrite this old array with the duplicates with the values of the new array without duplicates. First, what you need to do is you need to overwrite the counter. So iDup, remember, held the number of items in my arrays without duplicates, and I overwrite iCount with iDup. So now iCount will have a value of less than it was originally. And then I'm looping from 1 to iCount, and all I'm doing here is I'm placing the values of my array without duplicates over the values of the original arrays that contained the duplicates. So now you can have a look at the exemplar of 2018 question 4. And we had to remove duplicates, a little different from the example I showed you just now. There were duplicate names with scores, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep the highest score of each player. So we're using the same method I showed you just now with a little twist. Please press pause and try it yourself before you have a look at the solution. So here's my solution for question 4.1. Please note that there are many methods of removing duplicates. I just find this one the easiest to use. So my iNew is keeping track of the number of new items in my array without duplicates. I've just declared two variables here as arrays, array new name and score, and these would be my arrays that do not contain duplicates. And then my outer loop here is the one, so wherever I'm using iOut is my original array, and I'm looping from 1 to iCount, and iCount got a value in the given code, and bdup is going to be my Boolean flag that tests if a duplicate has been found. And my inner loop here is going to loop through my new array, so 1 to iNew as in the example. And here I'm testing if I find the name in the original array, if it's in the new array already. If I do find it, I change bdup to true, but this is where we have to add something. Now, if I find it, I need to make sure that I'm storing the highest score. So that is what this if statement here is for. I'm testing if the current score in my original array is higher than the value that I have stored in the array without duplicates. And if it is, I just overwrite this new score with the current score, so I'm only keeping the highest score. If I haven't found the name, bdup will still be false, and this is what I'm doing here in my if statement at the bottom. If bdup is not true, I increment my new index, so that's my counter for my new index, and I add the current person in the original array and their score to my new array. I just want you to take note of the wording here, is that they said that to ensure that the highest scores and the corresponding name remain in the provided arrays. So that means my original arrays must be the ones without the duplicates and only holding the highest values. So that's why I need to do the next bit of code. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm overwriting iCount with iNew, which holds the number of items in the array without duplicates. And then I'm looping from 1 to iCount. And I'm just overwriting array names with my arrays without duplicates and with their highest score. And all that was left was to call the display procedure, and that was provided code. So the next part of this question is asking you to first calculate the average score, and then you need to only put those players whose score was above the average in a new array called array high scores in the format name, hash, and then score. And then you will sort this array according to alphabetical order and display the answers. And there is an example of output. So press pause and try it yourself. So here is the button for question 4.2, and we have a running total to be able to calculate the average. I'm using array scores. Remember now in question 4.1, You removed the duplicates and you only kept the highest scores in this array scores. And then I'm calculating the average. I'm using iCount, that is holding the number of items in my array scores, and I'm storing it as RAVE. I had to use 2 sets of loop because I first have to get the average before I can then test against the average. So there I've calculated the average, and now I need to keep track of how many people are in the new array master score. So I've started the global counter iMast count to 0. Then I'm looping through my whole array and I'm testing if the current score is higher than the average. If it is, only then do I increment the iMast count, and I use that counter to store the person's name, a hash, and then their current score that is stored in array scores. You would not be able to use K here because then you will have some empty spaces in array master count, because not everyone is added to this new array. And it's for that reason that we need this counter. Sorting is very simple. Sorting does not change, and we know that the number of items is in iMast count. Remember to add -1 in the outer loop, and then the inner loop loops from iout +1 to the end, so that's up to iMast count. And then I am comparing my arrays with each other using in and iout, or the items in the array rather. And then when we want to swap, we start and end with our keeper. And then if I have iout on the right, in the next line I need to have iout on the left. And then I will follow with in on the right and then in on the left. And you should be able to draw these diagonal lines from right to left for the swapping of the items in the array. This is really code that you guys need to study, and it is best understood if you draw a trace table for this sorting, and then you can see how it sorts in the RAM. And the final thing that you needed to do was to display your array masters. There was a clear, since you would see master players was at the top of the rich edit in the screenshot, so therefore we would have it on clear. Remember to add your headings, and also you were asked to display the average that you calculated. And then very simply you just loop through your array masters and display them all. They were strings, so you just add array masters K. And that was it. Thank you very much for watching Dandelion Delphi, and you will find more explanations about arrays and text files in my book too. Hope to see you soon.